In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to create your own Easter-inspired game using GameMaker Studio, LTS edition, and Piskel, a pixel art creation tool. Let's start with Piskel then. If I open that up, we get our Piskel interface, which is nice and simple. We got our pen tool, we got our bucket tool, we got a mirror pen tool, all sorts of different tools that could be useful. I'm going to take this circle tool and draw out an egg shape. I'm going to use the paint bucket to choose a color for my egg and drop that color in place. And I'm going to use the hand tool just to reposition it to the center of my screen. Now, as you can see, I have an Easter folder already in place. So I'm going to export at 160 by 160 by sliding my scale up. I can put it to whatever I want it to be. So 160 by 160. And I'm going to go download as PNG into egg. Nice and simple. Now, I am going to slightly cheat. I have a YYZ file, a GameMaker zip folder here, pre-set up with a level in place. I will attach this as a download in the description section so you can grab the artwork and follow along. So if I double click on my Easter game here, it's going to open GameMaker Studio for me. I'm already logged into it, and it's going to ask me where I want to save the internal part of my game. So if I go to my Easter folder, I'm going to create a new folder very quickly and call it game, and I'm going to click open and save it there. Now what that's done is open up that YYZ, that zip file. On the left hand side we have our inspection, center part our workspace, right hand side our assets. If I expand these all ever so slightly, you will see that it comes with a background, a carrot, an egg, a rabbit, and a skybox. And there are objects to back those up. In our game, you can see that we have our level in place. On our layers section, we have the wall layer, which is this outer white rim. We have the sky layer, which is currently invisible. I can turn it on so you can see it, but it's a very thin line at the horizon point. And we have the game layer, which is currently empty. All I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to populate my game area with one rabbit. There he is. One egg. So hold on Alt. That'll allow me to place several eggs all around the place. A carrot. Again, using the Alt trick, I can place several carrots around my world. And there's my game in place. Now my current setup, the game is looking to play on Opera GX Games as a browser. I'm going to swap that very quickly to test so that it plays on a in-console game element. And if I click on run just to check it's all working, you'll see that my game is there, but there is nothing that happens on it so far. I've applied no logic to my game, so nothing will happen. I'm going to close that down and double click on my rabbit to start with and bring myself into the code element of it. Now my rabbit is in place, he is visible. He isn't solid, doesn't use physics or anything like that at this moment, and his sprite is set to a 32 by 32 rabbit sprite from within my sprites folder. What I'm going to do next is go to the add event, and I want to create an event for every time the player presses down a key. I'm going to use the up arrow to start with. I'm going to go into GameMaker Code and click OK. Now by double clicking on this green bar, that will focus this code window. And what I want to do is tell it to move the player by its Y position. If I bring the room back ever so slightly, and I just zoom out using my wheel on my mouse, the way that the room works is up in this top left hand corner where my mouse currently is, that would represent 0, 0 of my game. And as I go to the other far corner, that would be our endpoints, our 1366 by 768. So if I want my rabbit to move upwards, what I'm actually doing is taking this artwork and moving it negatively along the y-axis. If I want to go down, it'll be positively on the y-axis. So here I'm going to say y equals y minus 3, and then I'm going to terminate it. Y equals y minus 3, terminate it with a semicolon. I'm then going to go add event. I'm going to go key down, and it's the down key this time around, and I'm going to do y equals y this time plus 3 and terminate it. That is going to allow me, if I run my game now, to use my arrow keys to move up and down within my game. My rabbit can go off into space, but at the moment he is there and moving as I've programmed him. Next up, we want him to go left and right. We're going to do the same thing again. We're going to add an event of a key down for the left key. And just like when we were going up and down on our y-axis, we're now going to be going positively and negatively across our x-axis. Left is going to be negative, right is going to be positive. So we're going to say x equals x, and then it's going in my left key, minus 3. Now, I've chosen 3. I like the pace that 3 moves at. It is just a random number I've chosen off the top of my head. If you wanted to do something different, by all means do. X equals x plus 3 this time around. And when I run it, I can now move up and down and left and right. Again, I can disappear outside my world, but I can move around and run into my objects, but nothing will really happen. Next, we're going to address the fact that we can move outside of our world and off into our sky. And the way we're going to do that is by adding a collision with our sky and adding a collision with our wall. Just by putting those in place, I do not need to put any code into those. I've just added them in. When I click on run, I will no longer be able to leave this area. My character is locked. If I go up, when I hit that sky wall, even though it's invisible, my character can no longer pass through it. That's because the object for wall and the object for sky are both set to have the property of solid. That prevents my character from passing through them. So I'm going to get rid of that one and that one because we don't need to edit those in any way. Now with all of that in place, I have the basic mechanics to move around and play my game. Next up, I'm going to add another collision in place. This time, it's going to be to collide with my eggs and my carrot. So, keeping with the code, nice and simple, just adding those collision points in place. In here, I want to put a logic for what happens when I collide. So one of the first things I want to do is I want to increase my score. And if I collide with a egg, I'm going to say my score is equal to score plus 1. And that's it. My carrot, I'm going to do the same thing. Score equals score, this time plus 3, to encourage healthy eating. But that won't be shown yet. If I play my game and run through it, you'll see that score is not displayed at all on my screen. And when I collect them, my score has gone up, you just can't see it. We'll fix that in a second. First thing we need to do is to prevent it from continually adding to our score when we collide with an item. Because when we've collected it, we need it to disappear from our world. And the way we're going to do that is to include an instance underscore destroy and say that we want to destroy the other object in our collision. So we have two objects in our collision path, our character, which we are coding behind here, and the other object, the carrot in this case, that we hit into. Same goes for our Easter egg. I'm going to say instance underscore destroy other and then terminate it. Now when I play through my game, I will be able to run and collect all of these objects and they will disappear. Let's address scoring then. Let's add one more element and it's going to be a draw element and we're going to draw it to our screen. And what we're going to say is that I want to draw underscore text at position, say 25, 50, and I wanted to say score. I'm going to leave a space and close it off. Say plus the string equivalent of whatever is stored in my score variable. Now, when I first play my game, my score variable is going to be 0. So it's going to draw to my screen, score, and 0. My rabbit disappeared. There's one small reason why that's disappeared. And that is that I have included the draw text command, so that's what it's doing, but I forgot to put in place the fact it has to draw itself. So the very first thing in any draw box has to be draw underscore self, which tells the game that I need this character to draw itself before drawing anything else. Now when I run this, I'll get a game with my rabbit in there, and as I collect my items, they will disappear and my score will increase. This is a very simple premise, a very simple game that will allow you to create with minutes a simple run around game where you can collect items. So I'm going to stop that a second, and I'm just going to show you that I did initially create that Easter egg replacement. So this time around I'm going to go with new sprite, so create a sprite on this section here. And this sprite is going to be called S bad egg, and I'm going to import from my Easter game. I want in the Easter section my bad egg. You can tell it's a bad egg by the color of it. And yes, I do want to import that. So there it is. Now I need an object for it. So let's create an object and call it O for object, bad egg. Assign the sprite of my S bad egg and jump onto my room here and just drop one into place. Now the dimensions are different for this one, so I am going to shrink him down so he's a bit more in line with my other eggs. But as he is green, he's going to be a bit difficult to see on that background. So I'll drop him there. And I'm going to say that if my rabbit collides with my bad egg, that it is going to destroy the instance. So I'm going to say instance underscore destroy. But this time around, instead of increasing my score, I'm going to say score equals 0. So if I bump into that bad egg, it will reset my score back to nothing. And if I run across, I can collect. You can see my score is going up. My score is 5. My score is back down to 0. So now I have an object that I should be avoiding, as well as objects I'm looking to collect. All in all, this has taken less than 15 minutes. Okay, the artwork's there for you. It speeds it up a little bit. But you can create this game, hopefully, within an hour, quite easily. And like I said, all the tools I've used have been free. All the artwork I've used has been created by myself. I have included a link to the YYZ file in the description of this video. Leave a comment, let me know how you got on, and what you would change about this game.